Although our main objective for this project is to provide an environment-friendly, modern and reliable public transport system for Greater Kuching, we are also actually adding value to the project for the people by creating a platform for the transfer of technology and also generating economic opportunities for local businesses.
This is Paul Comfort, and you're on Transit Unplugged, which is the world's leading transit executive podcast. And we're excited today to be bringing you this interview from the government administrative capital of Malaysia, outside of Kuala Lumpur. And we're excited to have with us as our special guest, Mr. Mazli Mustaffa, who is CEO of Sarawak Metro. Mr. Mustaffa, thank you so much for being our guest today on Transit Unplugged.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very honored to be in this Transit Unplugged. And thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of material that I want to cover with you today because you're doing some things that are right on the cutting edge of what's happening globally when it comes to public transportation. And that is with regard to green hydrogen energy and also with regard to autonomous vehicles. And we're going to dive into that. Hopefully you can unpack it for our audience. But first off, tell us a little bit about where we're at. We're here live today coming from Malaysia. Tell us a little about the public transportation in Malaysia and then some in your city and the background of your organization.
All right. Talk about public transportation in Malaysia. I would like to talk more on Kuching because the project where we having at the moment is Kuching Sarawak,
right?
Which is outside of Kuala Lumpur. It is situated in, I would say, the biggest state in Malaysia, which is in Borneo. If you talk about Borneo, there's three main countries. Borneo,
okay, and that's an island, right?
It's an island,
off of Malaysia.
Off of Malaysia, what do you call it? Semenanjung Malaysia,
right?
Peninsula Malaysia. And as I mentioned just now, there's three main countries in Borneo,
okay,
Malaysia, Brunei, and also Indonesia. And Sarawak is the biggest state, Malaysia. In terms of public transport in Sarawak, I would say the usage of public transport, especially in Kuching, Sarawak, is very much less compared to Kuala Lumpur. And public usage of public transport in Kuching is around 2% at the moment. And with this project, we call it Kuching Urban Transportation System Project, or KUTS. We call it KUTS. We expect that the usage of public transport will rise around, I would say, around 10 to 15%. Of course, the state government of Sarawak is looking at more. They're targeting it around 20% by 2030. But to be on the safe side, to be realistic, from 2% to around 10 to 15% of usage of public transport is good enough.
Yes.
Yeah. And in terms of myself, I've been in this industry for, I would say, more than 22 years, starting from the late 90s, around 97, 98, 1997. And my first project was the development of KL Central, which is now in KL is the main transportation hub in Kuala Lumpur, whereby all the main metros, MRT, LRT, the monorail, even KTMB is centralized at KL Central. So that's my first project. And after finish the project, there's several other railway projects that I involved, not only in Malaysia, but also overseas, in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia. And after finish the project, I came back to Malaysia and involved in the MRT project, both Putrajaya line and also the New Liner line too. Now I'm here in Sarawak, and I've been here in Sarawak under this project for almost, it's coming to my 4th year now.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would say the project at the moment is online and it's on track. We just had our project launching last December. If that is the starting point of the construction stage of the QTS project.
So you've had quite a rich background in public transportation right here in Malaysia and around the world, it sounds like. And are you more on the engineering side, the finance side, the operations side? Which parts do you focus on personally?
Yeah. Actually, I'm more on the engineering side. My involvement is more on project management, engineering, design. Actually, from all various project stakeholders. Initially, I start being the contractor, and then in Saudi and also in Bahrain, both as the consultant, also at the ministry level as well in Bahrain. Although in Malaysia, I've never been with the ministry, but in Bahrain, I was part of the Ministry of Works in Bahrain, being the advisor or also a railway project. I believe you heard about Bahrain Metro.
Yes.
That was in the limelight since 2010, but only now it's been materialized.
Yes.
After I think 12 years. So I was quite involved in that project as well.
Yeah.
In doing the facility study and whatnot. And then I got involved with Mecca Metro as a consultant. Coming back to Malaysia I joined the MRT Corp as the asset project owner. And now I'm Sarawak Metro as the project implementer, and we just had agreement with the government of Sarawak being the operator and maintainer as well in the future.
That's great. Frank Hess, who's here with us today as our managing director in this area, he and I were talking about how it seems like in the United States and some Western countries, you start thinking about a project and it seems to take decades to get it going. When I was head of the MTA in Baltimore, we were studying a high-speed rail line between Baltimore and Washington. That was 7 years ago. They're still studying it today.
Yeah.
But here, you guys are making some great progress, right? So you just started 4 years ago in Sarawak, and you had the idea of moving forward with some of these, the autonomous rapid transit and also the hydrogen fuel. Just in general, because you're ready to start implementation. I mean, you've already got 3 of the hydrogen vehicles running, right? So tell us some about that and how you got this going so fast, because I think it's something the rest of us could learn from.
Yeah, actually, one good thing about Sarawak as a state, government of Sarawak, headed by the Premier of Sarawak, is have a very vast vision, very advanced vision on how Sarawak will be by 2030 and beyond that. And one of the objectives by the government of Sarawak is be developed state by 2030, advancing on the hydrogen economy and also digital economy. The financial of Sarawak government is big. They have some sort of autonomy to manage their own financial situation.
Just before we sat down, you were at a meeting at the Ministry of Transport where you said you were talking about this whole concept of decarbonization. Malaysia is known as a very oil-rich country, as it was, but your state there seems to have made a real commitment and focus on hydrogen. Tell us about that, and then tell us about what you're doing.
Actually, in Sarawak, I think I will say that the state of Sarawak, or now we call it region of Sarawak, is among the first. I would not say among the first. It's the first state in Malaysia which embarked on this hydrogen agenda, hydrogen economy, and also green technology. And it's also, I think, among the first within the Asian countries or the ASEAN countries embarking on this as well. Based on my meeting just now with Ministry of Transport Malaysia, even now Malaysia is looking into this green technology. Malaysia have a commitment on the SDG and ESG, and the target for SDG by 2030, the nation's target is to reduce the carbon footprint around 40% by 2030 and to achieve net zero by 2050. So the target is, I would say, is not easy to get, but we have to make our commitment now. Because if you look at what happened in the worldwide situation at the moment, the momentum for carbon net zero is very, very, I would say, is very tremendous. So it is our commitment to achieve this. And it's not only said, but we have to walk the talk. Right. Yeah, we have to walk the talk. And when you talk about SDG, ESG, it's basically, I would say, it's about people, about the planet, and about economy.
Right.
And now, since the environment commitment at the moment especially after EU already imposed this, the carbon tax, it is very related to economy. So we have no choice but
Right.
to embark on this, whether we like it or not. Yeah.
Well, let's dig down on the hydrogen side. Yeah. So tell us about that and what you are doing there in Sarawak with hydrogen.
In terms of hydrogen, Sarawak is quite blessed in terms of hydrogen. Why the Premier of Sarawak are looking into hydrogen? One of it is because we want to contribute to Malaysia, the nation SDG, ESG commitment. That's one thing. The second thing is because of the supply. In Sarawak, there's abundance of water. And when you talk about water, there is abundance of dam in Sarawak as well. And with this, to produce hydrogen is much more easier compared to other states in Malaysia. That's one thing. The second thing is because of the electricity tariff in Sarawak is very much cheaper compared to other states in Malaysia.
Tell us what that, not everyone I think is familiar with the term green hydrogen. Tell us what that means.
Green, actually there's several level of hydrogen coded by color. Green hydrogen, meaning the source is also from a sustainable renewable energy, which is water. And there's a blue hydrogen as well, whereby it is come from oil and gas, but from carbon capture.
Okay.
And there's a green hydrogen, whereby it come from oil and gas as well, but there's no carbon capture. But
You're focused on the green.
We are focused on the green because the net importer, Japan, Korea, and China, there's abundance of tax incentive for them to import green hydrogen rather than other color-coded hydrogen.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us what you've already done in your city. You've already started some bus routes with hydrogen, right?
At the moment, we having it's supposed to be our feeder bus.
Okay.
Our feeder bus to manage our last mile, first mile connectivity to our station in the future.
Right.
But at the moment, we are having this as our trial operation in order for us to get enough information, especially how hydrogen perform in tropical climate.
Right.
To know about this as well, right? And we have 3 numbers of hydrogen buses already operating in Kuching. If you manage to come to Kuching, you can take
I'd
a
like
ride.
to ride it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. At this particular moment, the government of Sarawak is fully subsidized on the hydrogen.
Okay.
So it is free of charge. And even the bus ride at the moment is also fully subsidized.
So far, I know you just started it, but what's the results? Are you happy with it so far?
At the moment, we are very happy on the performance of the 3 buses. Of course, there must be hiccup somewhere and there, right?
Right.
But
the engineer in you says there's got to be a problem we can solve here, right?
But that's the blessing in disguise as well.
Yeah.
What happened during the pandemic, right? At that particular moment, actually during the pandemic, during the MCO, the supplier is supposed to come to Sarawak and give the training. It's part of the contract. But that they are unable to do that. The manufacturer are unable to do that because of the pandemic situation.
Yes, yeah.
What we did is we find another way. We give training through online. Yeah.
Okay.
Through online. Yeah, it is not easy, but because of that, our technician, they maintain the bus by themselves.
Yeah. Your local staff.
Yeah, they're our local staff.
That's great.
That's although we have some problem, but there is actually blessing in disguise.
So a lot of places across the world, as they're looking into hydrogen fuel and new fuels, are looking at how they have to train their employees. You mentioned that your employees were trained. How are you working on enhancing it?
Although our main objective for this project is to provide an environment-friendly, modern and reliable public transport system for Greater Kuching, we are also actually adding value to the project for the people by creating a platform for the transfer of technology and also generating economic opportunities for local businesses. One of the things that we are introducing is the Social Economic Enhancement Development Program, which was initiated in-house in Sarawak Metro. And it's our aspiration for this program is to create greater socio-economic opportunities for the people of Sarawak through the procurement process for this KUTS project. And through SEED program, we aim to develop a more capable workforce to meet the demands of a modern and efficient public transport sector. And for the SEED program, Sarawak Metro concentrate on three key focus, namely our assembly plant or the localization initiative to optimize the localization supply chain, our Center of Excellence initiative, and not to forget our readiness program initiative to make sure that we are ready, our staff are ready to operate and maintain the ART in the future.
That's wonderful. So you're basically taking this public transportation initiative and turning it into an economic development engine,
Yes.
and also a job training engine for local people.
Yeah, correct.
That's wonderful. That's a great way to go. You mentioned that this is going to eventually be a feeder service. Yeah, let's talk about what it's going to feed into.
Yeah.
Your art system. Tell us about that.
We'll continue with Paul's interview with Mazli Mustaffa in just a moment. But first, Mike Bismeyer and Mike's Minute.
Hi, this is Mike Bismeyer, Regional Sales Director for Terra, and this is Mike's Minute, where we talk about leadership, mentorship, and kindness with the hopes that it'll inspire you to pay it forward. Well, Paul's guest last week discussing leadership, Eulois-Cleckley, mentioned one of his leadership goals that really resonated with me and aligns with mentorship, leadership, and kindness perfectly. He talked about people as part of the REPS program he follows. Focus on the people that you serve and the people that you're leading. And in doing that, focus on protecting, positioning, and providing the training and support for empowerment of those. Staff first. When we are mentoring, coaching, or leading others, we should always be focusing on whom we've identified that may be ready to take our job. How are we preparing them to move on into that role and not suppressing individuals, always empowering? Coaching is the true definition of mentoring. It reminded me of one of my first leadership disagreements I had with someone who was a level up from the team I was leading at the time and had to report into. And it had to do with employee evaluations. My belief is that if you're waiting for a once-a-year review scenario, it's already too late to optimally communicate expectations and/or aspirations for the individuals you're leading. You should be meeting throughout the year on a regular cadence to discuss and understand the goals, progress, opportunities for improvement, and the overall team mission and current status. You should also always be honest with the employees and making sure what you have discussed or laid out for them continues to align with the overall vision of the organization. That same year, the particular person I reported into wanted me to change evaluations I had done for my team, stating that I had rated my team too high compared to the overall company average, which I obviously refused to do. The entire team I had at the time had met their goals and KPIs that had been laid out at the beginning of the year, and that we had discussed regularly. I was also confident that anyone on my team I had at that time could step into my role if I had ever moved on to do something different. I learned a very important lesson that year that was important for my own personal growth. And that was having that uncomfortable conversation and fighting for my team, leading by example, even if other leaders in the organization did not think the same as I did. Ultimately, my team continued to perform at a high level, and my feedback and evaluations of their performance always reflected that. Again, the reason Eulois' message resonated with me so much: don't suppress individuals. To build a team is to empower a team. Thanks for listening. Kindness is cool. And I look forward to the next Mike's Minute, where we'll be talking about an exciting annual random act of kindness that I'm always involved in my community in the month of February, which I'll be happy to chat about. Have a great week.
You mentioned that this is going to eventually be a feeder service. Yeah, let's talk about what it's going to feed into.
Yeah.
Your art system. Tell us about that.
Wow, the ART,
Yeah.
that is quite interesting. I would like to talk more about ART. ART to me is
It's autonomous rapid transit, right?
it's autonomous rapid
Okay.
transit. Basically, it's a tram. It's a trackless tram.
A trackless tram,
Trackless
okay.
tram without any rail. It can run on the road surface. And the most interesting part and the most unique part is powered. The traction is powered by hydrogen power. And although it's called autonomous, when you talk about autonomous, there are several levels of
That's right.
level of autonomous.
Right, 1 to 5, yeah.
1 to 5, right? Even the automation level also, there are several levels of automation here. We don't say that it is the highest level. but
Okay.
it's
Maybe 4, 3 or 4?
yeah, it's around two or three.
2 or 3.
Yeah. But it is actually expandable to operate at level 5. But at the moment, no, because if you go for level 5, you have to have a very huge 5G infrastructure, right?
Right. Yeah.
To run fully autonomous, level 5 autonomous. So at the moment, not yet, but it is expandable to
Right.
level 5.
So your game plan is to start a trackless tram service that'll be hydrogen powered,
Yeah.
and the vehicles will have the routes programmed into them,
Yes.
so they'll be able to run themselves.
Yeah.
And where are you at in that process of getting that going?
It is actually designed for, call it driverless, but since this is the first major modern public transport in Kuching, I would say that we need to have some sort of driver to drive the ART. But of course, it is just, the driver just need to be there to manage on the brake system and
Right.
opening the door, not driving it.
Right.
But just
It
to
also
get
makes the
confidence.
public feel comfortable, right, having
yes,
somebody on
comfortable,
board.
Yes, correct.
What's your timeline in getting this done?
Actually, for ART system in Kuching, we have 3 lines for this ART project. We have the blue line, the red line, and also the green light. And we call all these 3 lines phase 1 because we're going to embark on this or develop this line simultaneously. It's around 70 kilometers. And the blue line will commence its operation by Q4 2025. Red line Q4 2026, and the green line by Q4 2027. So it will commence their revenue service by 2025 and end up to 2027 in stages.
And there'll be, my understanding is 3-car trains that'll be started off with. Is that right?
Yeah.
But how many passengers do you
It
know?
will be 3-car train. It can fit around 100 passengers per car set, and you can accommodate maximum 300 passengers at AW3 design for the whole 3-car set.
That's great. And my understanding is they're being built right now, and you guys are going to go look at them at the plant, and you may have the first test one here this year.
We're going to have our proof of concept train in Kuching in July this year, and we will bring the proof of concept train to Kuching to operate for 3 months. It will be, the proof of concept is actually for us to gain additional data on especially on the design and the performance, as I informed you earlier, how it perform in the hot climate, the tropical climate.
Yes.
That's one thing. And the other thing is of course, for the showcase to the public.
Yes.
Yeah, we mean business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a couple things I wanted to comment on. First off, it's very exciting to talk to somebody who's got a greenfield operation going on, where you're going to start a brand new service in a city which really hasn't had a lot of great, real government-run public transportation. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also excited for you that you're doing the hydrogen fuel, the green hydrogen fuel. To me, that is a fuel of the future that so many transit agencies across the world are now looking at. In the development of it, it seems like it might be 5 to 10 years behind electric, but there's a lot of other benefits that come with hydrogen that we've talked about. Talk to us about the benefits of why you chose to do this kind of bus rapid transit autonomous versus rail. Was it cost related or the space on the streets, those kind of things?
Yeah, of course. When we talk about to develop modern public transport, and when the source of fund is from the state itself, right?
Right.
Of course, cost will be main agenda, main concern.
Yeah, and it helps you get it going actually because you can start quicker, you can move it if you need to versus rail, et cetera, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. And to compare to other means of public transport solution or metro solution, MRT, LRT and whatnot, ART is much more cost effective. I would safely say that it is around 1/3 or 1/4 of the total cost of LRT and MRT solution.
Wow.
Yeah. It is very cost effective, especially in terms of infrastructure, because in terms of the rolling stock itself, it will be comparable to other means of rolling stock, public transport rolling stock, and this metro rolling stock. But in terms of infrastructure, that is where we save a lot, because actually, as I mentioned earlier, ART is actually a tram. Yeah, it's a hybrid tram it's a hybrid actually.
Right.
Hybrid between tram, bus and also railway. It is a trackless tram, and therefore they can run at grade and they can run elevated as well. So compared to LRT and MRT, it is very much cost effective, very much cheaper compared to other solutions.
Well, we wish you the very best as you continue to move this forward. I think you are setting a model not only for Asia, but the rest of the world. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Transit Unplugged in depth with our guest Mazli Mustaffa, CEO of Sarawak Metro. Now, coming up next week on Transit Unplugged News and Views, we have Christian Kent, transit consultant, and in our leadership segment, Sean Moon of Franklin Covey. Now, don't forget to visit transitunplugged.com to sign up for the newsletter, so you're always in the loop with whatever's going on with the show. If you have a question, comment, or want to be a guest on the show, feel free to email us at info@transitunplugged.com. So until next week, ride safe and ride happy.
What makes Think Transit unique for me in all the conferences I've attended over the last 25 or so years around the world in public transit is our executive summit. This is a special 1.5 days where public transit executives from transit agencies gather together, and it's designed by and for just them. So we have panels. Last year we had young people from the top 40 under 40 sharing about where they think the industry is going. We had transit executives in the zenith of their career talking about stories and lessons they had learned. We addressed the hot topics together. It's a shared solution center where we come out, I think, better people for having been there. It's just wonderful and unique. And I encourage transit executives who have and have not yet experienced it to attend this year. It's the Think Transit Executive Summit.